Dear Americans, now I know what you're thinking. Not another drag queen lamenting over the political turmoil our Trump administration is causing to the world. Yes, it is. I'm Doreen Devine, recovering narcissist, singing mental health drag queen comedian in Toronto, Canada, and someone who understands narcissism very well. And as a citizen in the world, I really feel it's up to us all to speak our truth, because there is so much misinformation trying to pull us apart. We need voices that are bringing us together, and one of the voices that is under attack is our 2S LGBTQIA+ family. We are all human, and there's a toxic belief out there that others are evil. And this is a narcissistic belief that we are good and they are bad. And our belief is bringing love, and their belief is bringing hatred. Now this is narcissistic, but they're trying to apply to everyone, and they elected a dictator to try to put on Project 2025, but I digress. Need I be more? I never thought I'd see the day Canadians would contemplate boycotting American goods. But here we are, as your polite neighbors and longtime allies. We feel betrayed, and your president's lies are to blame. For years, President Donald Trump has tried to convince you that Canada is ripping off the United States. Make no mistake, this is gaslighting on a national scale, and it's part of a dangerous pattern. We Canadians have watched with alarm as Trump employs the same tactics on America that a narcissist used to control and abuse his spouse. It's time to recognize what's happening for the sake of both our countries. Trump has been relentless in gaslighting Americans with information that pushes his agenda, or pushes their favor to do his agenda. He lies about things big and small, insisting they're true despite evidence. He even insists that the inauguration crowd was big as ever. Who cares about that? But he told Americans what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. That's a textbook gaslighting move. Over time, this barrage of falsehoods erodes the ability to distinguish truth from lies. Many Americans have been left disoriented, unsure who to believe or what to believe, which is exactly what an abuser wants. Equally troubling is how Trump weaponizes resentment, tapping into people's grievances and aiming them at convenient targets. Frustrated about job loss or economic stagnation, he blames immigrants, or claims that foreign nations like China, even allies like Germany and Canada, cheating you, feel disrespected by coastal elites. He directs your anger at the media and his political opponents. By stoking resentments, he positions himself as your champion, the only one who understands your anger. This is classic narcissist behavior, create an us versus them narcissist, where you must depend on him alone to protect you from the enemies. What enemies? These are invented enemies. The enemy must come within, said Vance to the EU. These are falsehoods and scapegoating. For most Canadians, this is a painful example of how he turned us, your friend, into trade enemies. Over a century, Canada has stood by America, fighting alongside you in wars and maintaining the longest peaceful border on earth, with millions of families intertwined across both countries. Yet Trump tried to convince Americans that Canada treats the U.S. poorly. He thundered that our trade practices were unfair and that we were taking advantage of America. The 2018 G7 summit in Quebec, after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau politely objected to U.S. steel tariffs, Trump lashed out. He called Trudeau dishonest and weak and abruptly withdrew U.S. support for the summit's joint statement. One advisor even snarled that there's a special place in hell for our Prime Minister. That's called devaluation. He didn't like what he said and he devalued. Good mummy, bad mummy. Imagine our shock at hearing an American leader treat Canada like a villain. These claims of Canadian misbehavior have been bogus, yet like any two countries, we have occasional trade disputes. But overall, our partnership has been mutually beneficial for generations. Trump grossly distorted reality to make America seem like Canada's victim. But the truth didn't matter. The goal was to galvanize American resentment. He wanted you to believe that only he would stand up to the big bad Canadians who took advantage of you. In reality, no such abuse existed. It's as if a controlling partner convinced you that your loyal best friend was secretly out to get you, to isolate you. All of this amounts to narcissistic abuse on a national scale. This is textbook gaslighting, isolating victims from outside support, shifting blame, and demanding absolute loyalty. Trump checks every box. He has told Americans not to trust the press or the courts, effectively trying to cut you off from anyone who could contradict him. He never admits fault, blames Congress, judges, scientists, previous presidents, even other countries for anyone but himself, for whatever goes wrong. Meanwhile, he demands constant praise and loyalty, labeling everyone who opposes him as an un-American or part of a deep state conspiracy. These are glaring red flags. Many of us Canadians see them clearly and did always saw them clearly, perhaps because we're watching from a healthy distance, but from outside the bubble, the Emperor's delusions are so easy to spot. This brings to mind the fable of the Emperor's new clothes. In that story, everyone is too afraid to tell a villain ruler that he's parading around naked. It takes a child to finally speak up. Think of this letter as that truth-telling voice from a friend. Trump's America First facade, tearing up fields, berating allies, and fawning over dictators has not made America greater or more respected. The Emperor has no clothes, and the strength he projects is paper thin. Underneath all the braggadocio, we see a leader flailing, more concerned with his ego than America's well-being. Each tale of triumph or victimhood only makes it more obvious that his illusion persists. Too many people are ignoring reality. This matters because the consequences of these manipulations are painfully real. When Trump convinced many Americans that a stalwart ally like Canada is a threat, he not only imposed tariffs that hurt the U.S. consumers and cost American jobs, he also undermined America's standing in the world. In fact, alienating your friends left America more isolated, a recipe for a less secure, less prosperous life for ordinary citizens. Gaslighting the public about a domestic crisis, a pandemic, or an election erodes trust in the institutions that keep society functioning. He did that the first time. We have watched the nation we love become divided against itself and turn away from its closest allies. If this continues unchecked, the fabric of American democracy could fray beyond repair. Americans, it is time to open your eyes wide and to break the spell. Trump's power relies on people believing his distortions. But you are not helpless. Demand honesty and decency from your leaders and hold them accountable when they lie or scapegoat. Reconnect with your friends and allies who share your values. Those bonds are a source of strength, not weakness. Don't let one man's narcissism redefine what America means. The good news is, more and more Americans are recognizing the con game. You descend from generations who fought tyranny and stood up for truth, from the Revolutionary War to the Civil Rights Movement. That spirit runs deep. Now, once again, your country needs that courage and clarity. As your friend and neighbor, Canada is rooting for you. We know the America that believes in truth and fairness is still there. Bring her out. Here's our plea across from the 49th parallel. See through the gaslighting. The next time Trump or any leader tries to stoke hatred against allies or fellow citizens, don't buy it. Trust the evidence of your own eyes. America doesn't need to be great again at the expense of its friends or its principles. It's its greatest when it stays true to its ideals of honesty, fairness, and solidarity. The emperor has no clothes. The whole world sees it. For the sake of your country and ours, it's time you see it too and act accordingly. Sincerely, Doreen Devine, recovering nurse, singing drag queen, comedian. Follow us at Friends of Doreen. You can find us at Friends of Doreen. Oh, come be a friend of Doreen. I love having friends and bringing people together. I really do. We stand for equality and democracy and truth. Human rights for all humans. And we really want to go to Germany.